Hello friends, welcome to Studental. I am Dr. Kaustubh S. Thakre and today we will be discussing about gingivectomy and gingivoplasty. The contents for today's discussion are definition, indications and contraindications of gingivectomy, various techniques of gingivectomy which include surgical gingivectomy, gingivectomy by electrosurgery, gingivectomy by lasers, gingivectomy by chemosurgery, gingivoplasty and healing after gingivectomy. First we will see which are the definitions of gingivectomy and gingivoplasty. Gingivectomy is defined as excision of the gingiva, while as gingivoplasty it is defined as reshaping of the gingiva to create physiologic gingival contours with the sole purpose of recontouring the gingiva in the absence of the pockets. Let us now come to the indications of gingivectomy. You will be getting a short note on this topic, indications and contraindications of gingivectomy. Apart from that, this is also an important question as far as the YY is considered. So the first indication is elimination of suprabony pockets regardless of their depth if the pocket wall is fibrous and firm. Elimination of gingival enlargements and elimination of suprabony periodontal abscess. You can see in this picture, this is base of the sulcus, this is crest of the alveolar bone, and base of the sulcus is coronal to the crest of the alveolar bone. Such pockets, as we all know, are called as suprabony pockets. Here the deepening of such kind of the pocket has occurred, still the base of the sulcus is lying coronal to the crest of the alveolar bone. In this case, you can see the base of the sulcus, it is apical to the crest of the bone, and this is infrabony pocket. So infrabony pocket, it is not indicated for gingivectomy and it can be treated by flap surgery. Any kind of the suprabony pocket, whatever may be the depth of the pocket, can be treated with the help of gingivectomy. Another indication of gingivectomy is gingival enlargement. Such kind of the gingival enlargements can be treated with the help of the gingivectomy. And third indication is suprabony periodontal abscess. If you see such kind of the abscess, which is suprabony periodontal abscess, it can also be treated with the help of gingivectomy. Now let us see which are the contraindications of gingivectomy. The first contraindication is the need for bone surgery or examination of the bone shape and morphology. So if you are trying to evaluate the bone, the morphology of the bone, or if you want to do some surgery on the bone, then gingivectomy is contraindicated in such cases. The situations in which bottom of the pocket is apical to the mucogingival junction, here also gingivectomy will be of no use and you have to think about flap surgery. And third is aesthetic considerations, particularly in the anterior maxilla. So if you want to treat the maxillary anterior area, then it is better to avoid gingivectomy because it might lead to some aesthetic concerns. After that, we will move on to the various techniques of gingivectomy. These are surgical gingivectomy, gingivectomy by electrosurgery, laser gingivectomy and gingivectomy with chemosurgery. So first we will be talking about surgical gingivectomy. Surgical gingivectomy and its technique can be asked as a long answer question. So you have to understand this topic thoroughly. There are various steps involved in surgical gingivectomy. The first step is the pockets on each surface are explored with a periodontal probe and then they are marked with a pocket marker. So this is a pocket marker. On one side of the pocket marker, a beak is present, and on other side, markings similar to that of periodontal probe, they are present. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 is missing, 5, 6 is missing, and then 7, 8, 9 and 10. Each pocket is marked in several areas to outline its course on each surface. So this is how basically the pocket is marked, and on each surface the pocket is marked so that we are going to get a scalloped outline. In step 2, periodontal knives like Kirkland knives are used for incisions on the facial and lingual surfaces and those distal to the terminal tooth in the arch. Apart from Kirkland knife, you can also use number 15C or number 12 blade here for giving the incision. Orban's periodontal knives are used for giving interdental incisions. The one which is present on the upper side is Kirkland knife and the below one is Orban's knife. You are also going to get a MCQ that which is the principal knife used for gingivectomy, and here the answer will be Kirkland knife. Orban's periodontal knife is basically a secondary instrument used for gingivectomy which will be used to give interdental incision. Now the incision will start. The incision which we will be giving in gingivectomy is called as external bevel incision. This is very important viva question. In gingivectomy usually external bevel incision is given, while as in flap surgery internal bevel incision is given. The incision is started apical to the points marking the course of the pockets and is directed coronally to a point between the base of the pocket and crest of the bone. This incision can either be given in interrupted way or continuous way. The incision should be beveled at approximately 45 degrees to the tooth surface and recreate the normal fistule pattern of the gingiva. So this is basically the incision given in case of gingivectomy. Such kind of the incision is placed. It is basically started slightly apical to the pocket marking. It can be given in interrupted fashion or it can also be given in continuous fashion, and the name of the incision is external bevel incision. In step 3, remove the excised pocket wall, clean the area and closely examine the root surface. In step 4, carefully curate the granulation tissue and remove any remaining calculus and necrotic cementum to leave a smooth and clean surface. And in step 5, the surgical area is covered with a surgical pack. We all know in gingivectomy sutures are not given, but we have to cover the surgical area with periodontal surgical pack. So this is how the procedure is carried out. With the help of curette, this tissue will be removed. Then the teeth are properly scaled and planed to remove any kind of the necrotic cementum or calculus, and then surgical pack is placed on the surgical area. These are the clinical pictures. First, the external bevel incision is given. In picture B you can see. In picture C, interdental incision is placed. Then the tissue tags are removed. Sometimes if you want to properly maintain the morphology of the gingiva, even surgical burrs can be used, and then periodontal pack is placed. And this is the post-operative picture after complete healing. Next is gingivectomy by electrosurgery. There are several advantages and disadvantages while using the electrosurgery unit. The advantages are hemorrhage is controlled and there is adequate contouring of the tissue, while as there are several disadvantages, which include it cannot be used in patients who have poorly shielded cardiac pacemakers. The treatment causes unpleasant odor, and in case the bone is touched with the tip, there are chances of irreparable damage to the bone. This is basically the electrosurgical unit which will be used. This is the control box. This is called as active electrode and this is passive electrode. Apart from that, a foot control is also present in electrosurgery unit. To the active electrode, we will be attaching several kind of tips, and these tips are either they are called as loop electrodes, needle electrodes or ball electrode. The needle electrode is used for giving incision. Loop electrodes are used for proper shaping and planning of the tissues, and the ball electrode, it is used to control bleeding or for coagulation. This is a clinical case where the electrosurgery unit is used. A case with gingival enlargement. With the help of the needle electrode, incision is given at the base. The tissue is removed. This is immediate post-operative picture, and then co-pack is placed. Next technique is laser gingivectomy. The lasers which are most commonly used in dentistry are carbon dioxide and neodymium, yttrium, aluminium, garnet, that is NdYAG laser. These lasers have the wavelength of 10,600 nanometers and 1064 nanometers respectively. Apart from that, soft tissue lasers such as diode lasers with a wavelength of 810 nanometer or 980 nanometer can also be used. The healing is delayed compared with the healing after conventional scalpel gingivectomy in the cases of use of laser. It requires precautions to avoid reflecting the beam on instrument surfaces, which could result in injury to the neighboring tissues and eyes of the operator. Next technique is gingivectomy by chemosurgery. The agents which are commonly used while doing chemosurgery are 25% phenol with 75% camphor, 5% paraformaldehyde in zinc oxide eugenol pack. The advantages of chemosurgery are no analgesia or anesthesia is required for the procedure, and procedure is easy to perform and requires less instruments. However, the disadvantages being you cannot control at what level you have to do this. Excess of the tissue can get removed and there are chances of more injury. So gingivectomy by chemosurgery is not used nowadays. Now we will talk about gingivoplasty. After gingivectomy, in every case gingivoplasty is required. Gingivoplasty is reshaping of the gingiva to create physiologic gingival contours with the sole purpose of recontouring the gingiva in the absence of pockets. Gingival and periodontal disease often produce deformities in the gingiva that is conducive for plaque accumulation and accumulation of food debris, which prolongs and aggravates the disease process. Such deformities include gingival clefts and craters and crater-like interdental papillae. Gingivoplasty may be accomplished with a periodontal knife, a scalpel, rotary coarse diamond stones or electrodes. The technique resembles that of fissuring of an artificial denture, which usually consists of tapering the gingival margin, creating a scalloped marginal outline, thinning the attached gingiva, creating vertical interdental grooves and shaping the interdental papilla. You will be getting a viva question that which are the procedures which are done in fissuring of the gingiva. So the answer here is we will be giving a scalloped marginal outline, tapering of the gingival margin, proper thinning of the attached gingiva, creation of vertical interdental grooves and proper shaping of the interdental papillae. With this, we will come to the healing after gingivectomy. Initially, there is formation of a protective surface clot. Underlying tissue becomes acutely inflamed with some necrosis. The clot is then replaced by granulation tissue. By 24 hours, there is an increase in new connective tissue cells, mainly angioblasts, below the surface of inflammation. By the third day, numerous young fibroblasts are located in the area. This highly vascularized connective tissue grows coronally and creates a new free gingival margin and new gingival sulcus. After 12 to 24 hours, epithelial cells at the margins of the wound start migrating over the granulation tissue. Epithelial activity reaches a peak in 24 to 36 hours. After 5 to 14 days, surface epithelialization is generally completed. Complete repair requires about 1 month. The expected questions which can be asked on this topic are: define gingivectomy, write indications and contraindications of gingivectomy, and describe in detail the technique for surgical gingivectomy. In SAQs, they can ask you indications of gingivectomy, contraindications of gingivectomy, and healing after surgical gingivectomy. At UG level, usually the healing is not asked, but in the rare cases it might be asked. So you have to just remember the events which occurred during the healing of the gingivectomy. You are going to get a MCQ that complete repair will occur in, your answer will be around 1 month, and complete epithelial repair, it requires 5 to 14 days. Apart from that, agents which can be used for gingivectomy like chemosurgical agents, it can be asked during Viva. And I hope you understood the topic and you will be able to write it properly in your examination. With this, the topic is completed. Thanks a lot.